Denver 7 On Demand is brought to you by Ferguson and BAC Appliance Center, the best in bath, kitchen, and lighting for your home.
Good evening. I'm Ann Trujillo with the latest from Denver 7. 2 days after immigration officials gave Denver 7 a tour of the Aurora ICE facility, there are reports that dozens of detainees are beginning a hunger strike. They're hoping to draw attention to continued issues with infectious diseases that have kept people quarantined and away from their families and lawyers. Here is Contact 7 Chief Investigator Tony Kowaleski.
We're going on 2 months now. It's inhumane.
Priscilla's husband, Henry Cruz Moreno, is currently locked up inside this ICE detention facility in Aurora. You talked to your husband this morning. What is he saying?
He's in pod B4 that they have decided to strike, which means they're not going to be eating food.
Priscilla says her husband's pod inside the facility has now been placed on quarantine for mumps and chickenpox for the third consecutive time, more than 60 straight days.
He says there's stuff going in here that I can't talk about.
We're hearing that detainees are getting incredibly frustrated and impatient because they don't know why. They don't know why these quarantines are being extended, and the consequences of the quarantines being extended are pretty great.
She's a DU attorney fighting for the rights of detainees. She says consequences for the quarantine include no family or attorney visitations, court and bond hearings canceled, and ultimately a delay in justice. What's your message to Gio, the operator of the facility?
Improve medical care in the facility. These infectious disease outbreaks should not be happening, and they should not be lasting as long as they are.
And that's the foundation for the frustration, a frustration that this wife of a detainee says has led to that hunger strike. Now she offers a solution.
Treat them humanely. They're not animals. Talk to them. Let them know what's going on.
That was Tony Kowaleski. Some scary moments for parents today when Prairie Middle School and Overland High School were placed on lockdown over reports of a gun inside the schools. Aurora police say this is the picture that caused panic. It shows a student holding a gun in front of his face, which we later learned was in fact a toy gun, and thankfully no one was hurt. 3 students were detained and they could now face some charges. Senate lawmakers have advanced a landmark bill to overhaul how oil and gas is regulated in our state. Testimony lasted for hours and there was no shortage of political theater. What does it really mean? How significant is it? Denver 7's Jennifer Kowaleski has been following this issue closely and is breaking it all down.
The pictures and video say it all. This is bill co-sponsor and Senate Majority Leader Scott Fenberg, 8 hours into testimony. Senator Brittany Peterson was yawning.
You got another hand?
While even those in the audience struggled to stay awake.
Make no mistake, this bill is not about local control. It is about total control.
We are under siege.
The all-night marathon went on for 12 hours, with more than 400 people testifying.
And it's not in rural areas anymore. It's in our neighborhoods.
Lawmakers passed the sweeping oil and gas bill out of committee at 2 a.m.
If we're not able to drill, no one makes any money.
Outside of the hyperbole and heated rhetoric,
If we can be a tad bit more respectful.
we're giving you context and multiple 360 perspectives on what this legislation will mean for the future of drilling in Colorado, starting with the bill's sponsor.
One of the most politically challenging issues facing Colorado.
Senator Fenberg says it's a common sense approach to dealing with frequent conflicts over health and safety. He stressed it is not intended to be a ban.
Coloradans simply do not have confidence that our laws are sufficient to protect their health and safety. And they're right.
Here's where we need some context. This 27-page piece of legislation is a major shift in how oil and gas is regulated, an industry which brings $30 billion in economic impact to our state.
Today, we go inside to protect our jobs.
The measure changes the mission of the State Oil and Gas Commission from fostering development to prioritizing public health, safety, and welfare. It also gives local governments, instead of the state, authority to regulate drilling. Local leaders would also gain power to levy fines for spills, leaks, and emissions, and then collect fees to cover those costs. It also changes the way forced pooling works, requiring more than 50% of mineral owners to say yes to drilling, instead of the current one homeowner rule. And that's just the beginning.
This is a sham.
Industry leaders and workers voiced their opposition on the steps of the Capitol.
We believe that this is an overreach in many aspects.
And then in committee.
Unprecedented authority that could be given to the director of the COGCC around moratorium.
They view the bill as a backdoor ban. Their biggest concern is over what they call the unintended consequences, and have started a rally cry to slow down the process. Health and safety first. Supporters of the measure held their own rally.
I watched my health decline as my red and sore throat lasted over 3 months.
And told stories of living near oil rigs.
I can't do anything about it. If I do, we're sued.
While local leaders sounded off over a lack of control.
When I opened up the sliding glass door, it was as if instantaneously I was blown into the air.
The bill's star supporter is Aaron Martinez, a survivor of the Firestone explosion.
Lots of good people depend on this industry for their livelihoods. I respect that. However, with great tragedy should also come great change.
No matter which side of the argument you agree with, here's the question. Is it time for more oil and gas regulations, or time to hit pause on this sweeping legislation? Inside the Dome, for now, it seems no one is slowing down.
Past time for action on this critical issue.
And your opinion matters to us. If you have a viewpoint that we missed in our report, we want to hear from you. Email us 360@thedenverchannel.com, or you can weigh in right now on the Denver 7 Facebook page. A lot of people are hoping their voices are heard inside our state capitol tonight about a bill that would abolish the death penalty in Colorado. And we know there are plenty of opinions on this, and that is why earlier this week we went 360 on the topic. And you can watch that report right now on thedenverchannel.com. State lawmakers also discussed a bill today that would repeal a 1999 law prohibiting local governments from creating their own minimum wage. This bill has passed the Democratic-controlled House before, but was then struck down in the Senate when Republicans held the majority there. Republicans argue that allowing cities to set their own minimum wage hurts job growth. Right now, the state minimum wage is $11.10 an hour. And now from the First Alert Weather Center, here's Mike Nelson.
Thanks, Ann. We have a lot of snow coming up for the mountains along this stationary front that separates some milder air to the south from cooler conditions from snow showers across northeastern Colorado. Might be a couple of inches up near the Nebraska border overnight. And in the mountains, it's 8 to 12 inches above 10,000 feet. Flurries northeast Colorado by morning. In the morning, then some wet and maybe even a little bit slick roads in the northeast part of the state. Snow covered in the mountains. Dry roads Denver to the south. Through the day on Thursday, more snow in the mountains. It stays dry in the plains until later in the afternoon, and there'll be some scattered showers, and that heavy snow just keeps piling up in the mountains. So looking ahead, mountain snow tomorrow, a few showers on the plains, a few more showers coming up Friday, windy and cool Saturday. On Sunday, 47, 50 Monday, and then more snow moving in Tuesday and Wednesday.
Thank you, Mike. And this has been your Denver 7 On Demand update. Thank you so much for joining us. And check back here later tonight for another update, and download the Denver 7 app for breaking news and alerts. I'm Ann Trujillo.